Hey everybody, Cooper here at eTrailer. Today we're going to be taking a look at the RockyMounts GuideRail on our 2021 Ford Ranger. Now, the GuideRail is going to be a platform-style bike rack with an individual weight capacity for 60 pounds per bike, which is really nice, meaning that our heavier bikes and our electric bikes are going to be an option for this rack. Our two main points of contact are also two ratcheting arms, one for the front wheel and one for the back wheel, meaning we are making no frame contact, which also means that our carbon frame bikes and alternative frame bikes are going to be an option for this rack too. So the amount of different bikes that this rack can carry is a big diverse amount. But how does it really operate with our Ranger? Well, the GuideRail has a tilt-away feature that if we pull this handle right here, it'll actually tilt down. And surprisingly enough, with our Ranger here, we can actually lower our tailgate and it does not make any contact. With a lot of the bike racks we have tested today, it has made contact at some point, not allowing us that full access into our tailgate. There is not very much space between it, so do be careful with how much pressure you're still putting on your tailgate. But if you need to load or unload anything for, let's say, a camping trip with that bike loaded, you do have the ability to do so. So that's been a very impressive part of the GuideRail today. To push it back up into that flat position, we don't need to re-engage that handle. We actually just lift the bike rack until we hear it click, letting us know that it is back in that seated position. In order to take our bike off, we just come to either of the wheels. We just go ahead and push in on this lever and then pull up, which disengages that tension on those arms. On that first one, feel free to just go ahead and do that. But on your last one, make sure you are holding your bike, because once you disengage this arm, all that weight is going to be transferred from the rack to you. Now you can go ahead and just lift up your bike and you are ready to hit the trails. Taking a look at the trays, one thing I do really like about the GuideRail is essentially how they are one big long piece, meaning that the customization on where you want to sit your bikes is a little more up to you. And especially if you have two bikes you want to load opposite ways and you want to make sure that there's less bike contact, you can kind of sit one more forward and sit one more backwards. And if you want to be able to use that backup camera, maybe you can adjust those bikes into certain ways that you can still use that camera with the bikes loaded. But putting our arms up, we can go ahead and hear that ratcheting mechanism, which is really what's just going to hold our bikes in place. One thing I do really like about the GuideRail too is that every single lever or any sort of touch point that you're going to need is highlighted in this really nice blue color. Now, anytime we add something onto the hitch of our vehicle, we're going to be adding on links to the back. So, taking our tape measure and putting it on our bumper, we can see that in this flat position, we are adding on about 32 inches to the back of our vehicle. And that's just an important measurement to know if you plan on trying to fit this into your garage, or maybe when you're driving down the highway, remember that there is this additional parts on the back. But if we pull that same lever and actually push it forward, we can put it in this more compact position. And looking at our bumper, we are only actually adding on about 16 inches in this configuration. So if you wanted to fit this into some sort of tight spot or in your garage, it is much more likely to be able to do it in this position. Taking a look down at our hitch, we do have a 2-inch shank fitting inside our 2-inch receiver, an anti-rattle bolt with a lock core on the other end, which is just a nice security feature, knowing that there is something that is going to help deter theft on our bike rack. Overall, I do think that the GuideRail is a really solid bike rack. The fact that it can tilt far enough down with our Ranger to give us that full tailgate access is really impressive. If I were to recommend to look into something else though, RockyMounts also makes the Afterparty, which is essentially the GuideRail but also has a swing away feature. So if you really wanted that true full tailgate access where it essentially takes our bike rack and pushes it off to the side, so that way you could hand stuff in or take stuff out and hand it down to people, with this being completely out of the way, I would have no problem recommending that for you. But if you like everything you saw here today, this was the RockyMounts GuideRail on our 2021 Ford Ranger. My name's Cooper, and thanks for watching.
We're going to take it out here on the test course. First thing we're going to do is hit the bumps. We're just going to see what it's like if we did hit some speed bumps. I'm watching the bike, watching how it holds on the tires. It looks like it moves just a little bit, not too much. This is mostly standard with other bike racks, so nothing to worry about. The bike doesn't look like it's going anywhere. Now we're going to go a little bit faster in the parking lot. I'm going to take some aggressive turns and see how it handles there. Looks like it's fine. I see a little movement again, but again, the bike's not going anywhere, so I don't have to worry about it.